Ladies and gentlemen, let's get our guest speaker up here. We're so happy to have him for about almost 3 years, almost our fourth year, I think. But you know what? When you're learning, it goes by so fast. What difference does it make? We go to college for 4 years, come out with a piece of paper, we still can't get a job. At least in what we do, you can go to work immediately and make money. And that's what I love about our opportunity. Right now, money with the back end residual money. And who could have better tell us about it than none other than the great one and only regional vice president from the Southern California. Everybody give a warm welcome to Mr. Dean Tarrolly.
Yes, good morning, everybody. Good to see all of you. So you guys, let me just start where I always start. Mr. Thomas does not need to do these calls. These are calls that he does for anybody, any team, doesn't matter who's upline, downline, sideline. If you want to learn information and you want to help, this is one of the ways that that Mr. Thomas gives back, right? And he would tell you he's been blessed. He's done extremely well. He's been very successful in network marketing, and prior to ACN, and then being an ACN and then a senior vice president. Which, by the way, you guys should know, if you ever hear the story or stories of people that maybe have come from other companies, that kind of stuff, let me tell you something. You have to know that you cannot sustain a position in our company if you are not a leader that puts other people first, which is why Mr. Thomas has been one of those people for ACN for years and 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 years. That's it. All he did is he took all the experience that he had in business, in and outside of network marketing, brought it into this company, and literally is one of the, he refers to me as a go-to person. I'm telling you, we all look to people, leaders like Al Thomas, because he's been around and he's seen it. I've told you guys, and I'll end my little mutual admiration society story with this, just to tell you that, and it was important to me. There was an event we did in Vegas, and I was a guest speaker, but I was going through some challenges. And many of you have heard me say this story, but for real, I pulled Mr. Thomas aside and I asked him for a few minutes, and we went for a walk around the hallway of and he just kind of, I told him where I was, what I wanted to do, what I wanted to accomplish. And that conversations like that, let me give you guys all some leadership that's off of my topic. As you gain information and knowledge and experience, you will have the opportunity to have conversations with people, and you do not know how much those conversations will impact them for years. And that happened with Mr. Thomas and I just knew right then, I'm like, man, how classy. He left the people on his team. Now, there was no emergency or anything, but he set aside that time for me. And it's just something that I'll never forget. I was really grateful. I'll always remember that conversation, and a friendship came out of it, which is just the best part. So Mr. Thomas, thank you for everything you do, for everybody on this call, the trips you plan, the incentives you put in place, and the culture and the environment that you create. You are really a lead by example, and show people, not just tell people. So on behalf of everybody on here, just wanted to say thank you for all you do.
No, sir. Thank you.
So you guys, here's what you guys need. Here's what I want to share with you. Whether you need to know this or not, this is what's on my heart, and this is what I want to share with you guys. If you are not, and I'm gonna show you why I have kind of this weird angle, and you guys are gonna see it in a second. I'm gonna catch you up to speed and show you a few things here for fun. If you are doing ACN and you are not at a place that you are striving to be, right? And by the way, none of us are. Even the senior vice president on this call, Al Thomas, none of us are in the place that we want to be. So if that is in fact the case, let me be crystal clear with all of you, and this is for myself as well, and I'm going to show you some visual evidence of this in a moment. Something has to change. So if you want to know what my message is, and you can write this down, something has to change. Right? And where does change really start? Very good. It starts with you first. So that does not mean that you're going to go out and fire your team. That does not mean you're not going to stop returning phone calls and texts. But if what you are doing, you guys, please get this. And I know you've heard this a million times, but I want you to hear it from me in the context that I'm going to share this with you. If you're not where you want to be right now, or you're not in the direction that you want to be going to get you where you said you were going to go when you signed up, if you don't change something starting with you, I am telling you, you're biking on a stationary bike. You're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to advance your business. Because I started saying advance your business, and Al started saying advance your business. I think maybe 6 months into the first few times of doing this, like 4 years ago. You want to do something to advance your business. You guys, you cannot listen, watch this. You cannot change your scenery on a stationary bike. Nothing is going to change. It's going to be the same view, right? So you guys, if I'm going to be really transparent, so it's a leap year. It's the 29th of February. It's weird. Like it doesn't happen all the time. Okay. Let me ask you as a question. Oh, Natasha, thank you. Let me ask you a question. If you're literally not willing to change something or anything, some of you, and here's what's crazy. As human beings, we justify that inactivity. We justify it. Well, you don't understand. I got this going on. I got that going on. I got these issues. I got that issue. I got this family. I got that family. I got this health. I got that, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, pick one. Well, and here's why I say pick one. We all got them. Al's got them. Renata's got them. Roxanne's got them. Red's got them. Right? Al's got them. Al Randolph's got them. Heidi's got them. So we all got them. So what determines the difference? What is it inside that creates that change? First of all, it is a very clear understanding, and listen to the words I'm saying to you. It is an understanding and acceptance that it is necessary to get where you want to go. It is an acceptance, and it is necessary for you to go through change to get where you want to go. And you guys, here's what's crazy. Change is inevitable. Natasha, she put, right, you can't change your view on a stationary bike. If you're pedaling and pedaling and pedaling, look, the room's not going to change. Now, you can put a TV in front of you and change the freaking channels, but that's not changing anything. You know, we've heard so many stories about, we see other people getting promoted. We see other people advancing their businesses or their lives and going through changes and adapting to things. And we're clapping for them, and and they get recognized, and we are rewarding and clapping for them. Well, we need to do that for you, but that will not happen. Listen to me. It will not happen if you do not change. And what has to change? It starts with you, and then it starts with your activities. So see, you guys, if there was ever a time in your ACN business to not be a secret agent, like if people don't know you're doing this, if people don't know you're engaged and you're involved, you guys, I am telling you, that is expensive, because your lack of being willing to change and talk to people about what it is that we're doing could cost you a tremendous amount. Why do I say that? You go into a coffee shop, you overhear a conversation behind you. And you're like, oh, Dean said I could totally introduce myself. I could totally do that. Oh, but I got to get the kids to gymnastics. I don't. What if I can't? But next time I'm going to do it. Done. You're out the door taking the kids to gymnastics, and then you show up at your weekly meeting, or you show up at a national, and that person is at a national. And you're like, oh my God, am I having an out-of-body experience? That was the person I saw at the coffee shop. I swear to God, that was her. And then all of a sudden, and now you get some courage. You know why you get courage? Because you're in the environment of ACN. Now you get a little bit of courage, and you tap the person on the shoulder. Excuse me, can I just ask you a question? Is there any way are you from Kalama, Washington? And they're like, yeah, that's where I live. Oh my God, I saw you in a coffee shop over at Atomic Cafe. Oh yeah. And you're like, that person could have been, would have been, should have been on my what? On my team. So if you're not willing to change those behaviors and you're not willing to change them on a daily basis, I don't care. I don't care. Al doesn't care. Renata doesn't care. We don't care if you change it or not, but what we do care about is if you really want ACN to happen, and the one thing that you can control is your activity, which means that you can change from where you are to where you want to go, like, don't fool yourself. That's not fair. You know what also creates change is, I'm not going to go into a whole thing on your reason why and the necessity of change. But I do know that I can't imagine there's anybody that's on this call that put $299 or $499, depending on when you signed up. Nobody hit enter on their rep agreement to stay the same. Nobody hit enter on the rep agreement to be in the same position. So let me say something to you guys that I hope you write down. I hope you do. So many people in ACN are in for years, and they'll say, hey, how long? Here's what we say, right? Here's what everybody says. You've said it. I've said it. People have said it to you. People have said it to me. And here's the question, right? You guys, listen up. Freaking listen up. Here's the question. Hey, how long you been in? Oh my God, how long you been in? By the way, you're going to hear that all over the lobby. You're going to hear that all over the lobby of the Sheraton at the National. We're all going to be there. Hey, how long you been in? How long you been in? How long you been in? Hey, how long you been in? Right? 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 4 years, 6 years. Yeah, you guys are laughing because people ask it. Hey, how long you been in? When'd you get started? Right? 4 years ago. Okay. Let me tell you what most people do in ACN. They have not been in for 4 years. Their rep agreement says they've been in for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. They have not been in for 4 or 5 years. They've repeated year one for 4 years. And guess what? Al, permission to be direct? That's on you. That's on you. You've been in ACN for 1 year. You're repeating the same freaking behaviors over and over and over. When somebody says this to me, I'll see them at our briefing or Saturday training. Hey man, good to see you. You too. Hey, watch this. Listen up, guys. Watch what happens. I'm going to give you guys behavior identification. Watch this. Okay, here goes. Hey man, good to see you, God. Good to see you too. What's going on? Hey, how you been? Hey, how's ACN? How's it going? I'm here. Well, no shit, you're here. I'm looking at you. Of course you're here. Like, give me a break. There's no attendance awards. By the way, if you want my personal opinion about one of the things that defines a leader, this is just something I came up with a long time ago, but I will tell you this. One of the things that I use to define a leader is when their absence is more noticeable than their presence. Where's Al? That's weird. Al's always here. What, is he okay? Where's Renata? That's weird. She's always here. Is that okay? Is she okay? When your absence is more noticeable than your presence, you're probably onto something big, because what you're doing is you're setting yourself up as a staple, as a pillar, and as a foundational piece of what it is that you're doing in your local marketplace. But guess what that requires from you? Change. Well, the event this, the party that, the ball game this, the family that, this. You guys, understand something. If you want to talk about getting where you want to go and accepting, as I said earlier, accepting and embracing the fact that change is a necessity, that change has to happen for you to get where you want to go. You have to look at yourself critically and go, am I changing my behaviors? Am I changing my activities on a daily basis? Or do I have every justification to toe dip ACN? Because if you do, you guys, I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying, don't tell us that you want to be a regional director, regional vice president, senior vice president, and toe dip ACN. You are going to miss things, right? You're going to miss things. But guess what? You're doing it for a purpose, so you don't miss anything. Right? So you don't miss anything. Is this conversation landing on anybody besides me? You sure? Okay. Here's what also will happen when you start embracing and putting change into action. At one point, you will recognize old behaviors. And what's so great about it is just go, oh my God, this is what I used to do. I'm not doing that anymore. This is what I used to say. I'm not doing that anymore. This is how I used to act. I'm not doing that anymore. And what will happen is, you guys, write this down. Write this down. I need to be my own agent of change. I got to be my own agent of change. Like I have to, right? And here's what's crazy. It only takes one thing. It takes one thing. I'm starting every day by, I'm not, how about this? Write this one down. Write this one down. I'm not going to bed until ... I am not going to freaking bed until ... Whatever that is. I'm not going to go into the things that we need to do to build our businesses. You guys know what those things are. You know what they are. Isn't it amazing? Like in life, the older you get, you know the right things to do. The question is what? You know the right things to do. What's the question? Are you doing them? So if we know that change is inevitable and change has to happen, it is the most necessary part to get from where you are to where you want to be. Get with the leader that you're working with. Be an open book. How about this? Be coachable. You guys, it's just crazy the number of people that come through ACN and they say that they want those things, but they are just not coachable to the leader. You know, I'd say this, I'd say that, I'd do this, I'd do that, I'd promote this, I'd promote that, I wouldn't miss this, I wouldn't miss that, right? I heard years ago, I shouldn't say I heard it. So truthfully, it was told to me. A leader that I was working with, and still do. His name is Brian Sachs, is the company's first senior vice president. And I had a thing that I was working on in ACN, and it didn't happen, and I had a reason for it. And he goes like this. For anybody that knows Brian, he goes, I'm telling him why I couldn't, whatever, do something. And he goes, Dean. All excuses are created equal. I'm like, dude, how about this? Right? Yeah, sensational sharing in your face. That's how I felt. And this is literally what Brian Sachs did to me when he said that. He goes, hey, Dean, all excuses are created equal. You freaking slapped me with that. I'm like, you know what? Damn. Like, that's how I felt. Now, look, you guys, I'm not talking about emergencies. I mean, use your heads, right? We have to use our heads. I'm not talking about someone in the hospital. But how many times have we heard stories of people that are in the hospital and they're peeking their doctor or their nurse or whatever? Like, why are you, hey, you just had this surgery. What are you doing on the phone? Oh, I'm expanding a company, but you're in bed. Yeah, I know, but it's good. What do you do? Next thing you know, you may end up signing up a whole floor of a hospital. My point is this. You know, we say there's people that will be a customer or be a team member, right? Here's what I think in terms of the topic I'm telling you about, and I'm going to show you guys a couple things for the fun of it. There are people that resist change, and there are people that embrace change. And it starts where? Yeah. So the conversation's simple to end the month and end my my 17 years of doing Al's call. It's that if you're not willing to change, you guys, and you're not willing to go through, and you're not willing to adapt, if you're not willing to adapt, now you might struggle to adapt, right? You might mentally struggle to adapt. I've had to deal with something right now, sitting in an empty room right now. There's been a big thing that I'm going through right now to adapt. I'm gonna show you guys in a second. But I'm just letting you know, we're all in it together. But what I'm asking you to do is to not fool yourself. If you are not willing to change where you are and what you've done to this point, do you guys realize that if Renata and Boris, who I love them, if Renata and Boris don't change certain things, they will not go SVP. But they're already RVP Platinums. But they're going to have to do some things to go SVP. For Mr. Thomas to go SVP Platinum, there's some things that he knows. He's already shaking, nodding his head because he knows that for me to go from RVP to RVP Platinum to SVP, there's things that I have to change. So we're not saying anything to you guys that we don't say to ourselves and we take action on a daily basis. So you can't get into a numbers game until you have some consistency. And the only thing that's going to create consistency is the idea and embracing the change that you need to do behavior and activity wise on a daily basis to get where you said you wanted to go for your $299 or your $499 or whatever. Does this make sense to anybody? Here's a question I have for you. You can put it in the chat. I don't care. Doesn't matter. How soon can you change? How soon can you change? Yeah, now. Melissa, Heidi, awesome. Deb, Jackie, awesome. Today, Rick, yep, today, now. Man, tomorrow I'm getting me set up tomorrow. Right? What do they say? Some days not on the calendar. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, someday. Like there's immediately, right? What, you know what? You guys look in the chat. Look in the chat. Sharian said, when you decide. That's true. Look, I'm not holding your hand to tell you when to decide to change. I'm not, Al's not, Renata's not. I don't know any other RVPs on, but if there are any other RVPs on, I know I'm speaking for you as well. I know I'm speaking for the future RVPs, right? Oh, you guys, look, we've been talking about her a lot, but like Roxanne changed. She moved from San Antonio to Lubbock, knowing 0 people. You guys agree that is change, yes or no? If someone had surgery on their foot or their ankle or whatever, and they're literally in a cast, do you think they would show up to a Super Saturday or a regional? Probably not. Red, she was at 2 of them. We had to set up extra chairs to prop her freaking foot up. And she was there taking notes. We even, right, no rest for the weary. She came there in a freaking massive boot, her foot elevated, and I made her get up in front of the room and do a testimonial. I didn't make her jog. She didn't dance, but whatever. She should have. But my point is this, you guys. Change that is required to alter your activities, which will change and give you the results that you are looking for, is a decision away. And it's just a matter of deciding, right, how important that is to you. And whatever your answer is, we respect it. Whatever your answer is, we honor it. But it's very difficult for us to talk about things like regional director or regional vice president or senior vice president if we know that the activities and the daily behavior isn't there. Is there always a reason, an excuse, or justification as to why you can't, why you won't, why you didn't show up? Is that because, you guys, that's not, that is revealing behavior. that is revealing. Or you want to know what? Whatever it takes. How many of us have heard people like Greg Provenzano, Tony Kupas, Larry Raskin, whatever it takes? Larry, all out massive action, AOMA, all right. Like he talks about this stuff, but you want to know what? We love him because he's a coach and he's right. Let me tell you guys this. And again, I know I speak for Renata and Al when I tell you this. When you get promoted to regional vice president platinum, and senior vice president, guess how many of the flakes you're going to remember? Guess how many of the no-shows you're going to remember? Guess how many of the negative people you're going to remember? Guess how many of the people that are discouraging you're going to remember? I'll tell you the exact number, just none. Right? Change is inevitable. Your change is necessary for you to get where you want to go. You guys agree? Like, that's change. That's change. And I shared that with you because I wanted to be transparent and let you know. Up here, 30 miles north of Portland, right? I don't know anybody. I don't have any contacts up here. I know in the Pacific Northwest a long time ago, there was some activity up here. I don't know. I mean, I could ask Renata, I could ask Al. I don't know of anything going on up here. Do you guys? Yeah. So it's going to take a minute. That's cool. But I'm a city guy. I mean, I am. If someone said country or city, I'm probably more of a city person. But my wife has her horses back up there on the property, so that's really cool. And the reason I shared that with you guys is because I wanted to let you know that change happens, and we have to adapt to change and embrace it. And it was a challenge. Listen, full disclosure, it was a challenge for me to embrace this. It was a challenge because I'm more on the city side. But you know what? You're not going to know how the water is until you jump in. You're not going to know what a national is like till you show up. You can describe it, you can explain it, you can tell it, you can even show a video of it, but until you go, you don't know. Are these all elements of change? Yes or no? When you do it and you have one other, you're on your way. And then that 2 turns into 3, turns into 6, turns into 12, turns into 24, turns into 48. And now it starts to grow. And now you have a team of people that are embracing change and altering what they're doing to get where they want to go. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. So I hope this is helpful. I hope that oh, by the way, Southern California, I'm going to be back 1 week every month, so you're not getting rid of me. So I know you guys say you're like, oh my God, Dean's finally out of here. Great. So, you know, a guy who we used to listen and learn from named George Zalicki, he used to say something great. He'd say, who's heard me speak before? And a bunch of hands went up. And he goes, who has never heard me speak before? And their hands went up. And he goes, well, your luck's run out. So, right? And yes, Roxanne, 100%. I will be back in Southern California, and I will absolutely be back in Lubbock. But anyway, you guys, I just want you to embrace change. I want you to go after change. I want you to look for change, and I want you to embrace change, because if you do not do that, I don't want you to do ACN the same year over and over and over and over and over again. That's not why we did this. It's for you to grow and develop and expand your abilities, your capabilities, so you can impact more people. And that's the way that you build a team. And someone's going to latch on and they're going to duplicate you out. And now you have a network like Renata's built, like Mr. Thomas has built, and you know, all the other leaders in ACN that are really servant leaders. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you guys. Mr. Thomas, I'll turn it back over to you.